All right, Shalom.
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 All right, first and foremost, we have to give all the praise, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh,
Hawa,
Ba'ashem,
Hashem,
Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash. All right, double honors and respect to our apostles and elders, a great millstone, who rule well and taught us His truth. I would also like to say peace and salutations to the Lord's elect, the whole flock and the 1/3, and you just like foreigners, you speckled birds scattered across the four corners of the earth that look like the heathen nations, but your seed line goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who the covenants, blessings, and salvations are only meant for. Only the elect of you will, are going to understand this truth. This is Brother Salah.
Sabra.
All right, and in today's video, all right, the other brothers, started with Elder Apostle Tahar, they've made their videos on, on DJT, man, on what happened, as you can see right here, in this thumbnail picture, yeah, Trump, man, you already know. You already know, man. And the brothers have been saying this, man. Caesar, Nero, man. DJT 47. You know, and really all these world leaders and celebrities, they all practice the same thing. They're all in the Moism. They're all in that pedophilia bull crap, man. And all that goes back, to that left hand, which that left hand witchcraft or that left hand, society, man. They do these things like blackmail each other, right? Right, so they could basically keep each other in check, right? That's why you had people like Epstein, Diddy, man, and everyone like him that had dirt on each other, right? That's why they participate in all these things along with that ritual sacrifice, man. So we're gonna open up with the with Luke chapter 8 verse 17, and it says here, for nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad, right? And with this video right here, these with these email leaks from I think if I don't know, it's from Putin. They said Putin also had receipts on Trump with Clinton, doing that act, man. You could read the thumbnail here, brothers. I'm not gonna read that, and if you know, you know. but but basically, man, all this goes back to that Psalms. I believe it was Psalms 83. That league or that confederacy of nations, man. That all had that one consent with one another, to take the nation of Israel down, right? That's why they all participate in these things, right? Have everyone in bed so they could all manipulate or check on each other, right? But without any further ado, we're gonna play this video. We're gonna get the copyright disclaimer. Let's see right here. Right here. Yeah, that's right. Disclaimer, copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. All right, so with that out of the way, we're gonna play the video. All right, here it is. I'm gonna show you so you brothers can see it.
Not Donald Trump putting the head in head of state. What? What? What do you mean? There is an email between Jeffrey Epstein and his brother where it says, ask him if Putin has the photos of Trump. What? And before MAGA comes in here and says that cannot be true, I would like to remind you of something that Caroline Levitt said just the other day.
Again, it's not a coincidence to the American people at home. There are no coincidences in Washington, D.C. And it
is no coincidence that Donald Trump wants to get rid of the filibuster. He's already filled with Bill busting in his mouth. There are no coincidences in Washington, D.C. So it is no coincidence that he wanted to lock her up so bad. He wanted Bubba all to himself. It is no coincidence that Donald Trump did this a year ago to the day.
I come in, and here's the problem. I said, oh man, it's too low. I said, so I had to go.
It is no coincidence that he wants to build a ballroom so bad. It is no coincidence that they tried distracting us by saying everything Donald Trump has ever said was locker room talk. Meanwhile, it was Russian bathhouse action the whole time. It is no coincidence that Donald Trump says he is the best at the bob and weave. What? Vladdy, release the pictures. For the love of God, release the pictures. My eyes, I can't. Just in time for Thanksgiving. Just in time for Thanksgiving. I urge anyone on the left who has cut off their family.
All right, we can stop it right here. So we're gonna bring out the book of Obadiah. And we'll start here at Obadiah chapter 1 verse 3. And it says here, the pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rocks, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and thou set thy nest among the stars, then shall I bring thee down, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. And see, and that's what the Lord's doing right now, man. You know, he's exposing Esau, man. You know for what he is. You know, basically this vile, wicked ass devil, man. There's no good disgusting ass ruler that's ruling over the people, man. And Esau, man, as you read down in the book of Obadiah, man, where it says their inward thought. Let's see if I can find that. Let's see, actually, hold on. Let me Google that. Slack and there. Yeah. Psalm chapter 49 verse 11. It says here, and the inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations, and they call their cities after their own names, right? And Esau, man, thinks his rulership is gonna last forever, man. But but now the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, man, what he's doing, right? He's putting that shameful spewing on. On these Edomites, man, exposing these devils and all these heathen nations, all their nasty works, that they do behind the dark, man. In the book of Ephesians, man, it speaks on this. Let me bring this out. Ephesians chapter 5, we can start at verse 11, right? This one talks about it says right here, verse 11, right? It says there, and have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, right? But rather reprove them, for it is a shame to even speak of those things which are done of them in secret. but all things that are reproved and are made manifest by the light, for whatsoever doth make manifest is light, right? And that's what the Lord's doing, right? He's making it known what's what these Edomites and these other heathen nations are doing behind closed doors. Because again, man, it's not just Caesar Nero, right? Doing all these nasty things, man. It's these other nations, right? They're all in bed with one another, man. And that's right here. And let's get this. Yeah, yeah, Psalms 83, if I'm not mistaken. Talking about them League of Nations, right? Right, so, right. Yahweh implored to confound his enemies, right? Psalms 83, right? A song or a psalm of Asaph. Keep not thou silence, O Yahweh, hold not thy peace, and be not still. Be not still, O Yahweh, for lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones, and they have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation, and let the name of Israel be no more in remembrance. So all these nations, right? They got together, right? Right, right, and agreed, right, to take away our heritage, take away our ways of life, give us new names and whatever, and make us forget who we are, right? We had to drink of that cup, right, and forget who we were, right, right, right. They verse 5, for they have consulted together with one consent, they are confederate against thee, right? The tabernacles of Edom, you so-called you so-called white people, right? The Ishmaelites, you so-called Arabs, right? And Arab just means mixed race, but Ishmael, speaking of you, is Ishmaelites is speaking of most majority of people that come from the Levant, right? Like you so-called Palestinians, and and other Arab nations, right? Right, of Moab, you so-called Chinese, you so-called Koreans, you so-called Mongolians, right? Right, the Hagarenes, which I believe is more Ishmaelites, Gabal, which I think is also more Ishmaelites, Ammon, you so-called Japanese, and Amalek, which is you so-called you so-called Ish people, right? You J double O's, right? The Philistines, which are the Hamites, and the inhabitants of Tyre, the Assur, the Assyrians, the people that live there in Iraq, also join unto them. They have hope in the children of Lot, Selah. Do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to Sarah and Jaban at the brook of Kassan, which perished at Endor, and they became dung on the earth. Yeah, so the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, man, he's ready to destroy you fucking nations, right? Right, and he's doing that, by shaming you, starting with Esau, Edom, right? Right, and I believe I'll stop right here in the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 12, verse 10. It says here, "Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so does his wickedness." Right, right. Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 14. For Yahweh shall bring every work into judgment, which every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. Psalms chapter 139, verse 22 says, I hate them with perfect hatred. I count them mine enemies, right? And yeah, man, the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, man, he hates all these other nations, especially the nation of Esau, man. That's why he's revealing their shame right now. But before that tribulation, really starts to kick off, right? All right. So in this next video right here, this Moabite or whatever, he's gonna explain. Yeah, he's basically gonna explain that it's not just Trump, man. It's basically all these other nations, right? Right, that are in cahoots with each other, right? That do all these, these ritualistic satanic things, man. Just like they did back in the ancient world. So again, I've already declared the copyright disclaimer. I'm just gonna flash it again. You see it right here. We've already said in the beginning of the video. Now we're gonna play this.
Turning point in American history.
Yeah, great point. And, to that end, in terms of how flippant all of this is, and there is this email that's been the most recent emails that have been going around. What is so incredible about them is that the more that they are released, in this weaponized way, the more we find out. And here is one between Epstein and between Epstein's brother Mark and him, talking, how are you doing? This is what they're saying. How are you doing? What is your boy Donald up to now? Referring to Donald Trump. Mark Epstein says, all good. Bannon is with me. So Steve Bannon. Then Mark says, ask him if Putin has the photos of Trump blowing Bubba. And I thought I had Surus. That's what Jeffrey Epstein said. What that means? That's a Yiddish word for trouble. You and your boy Donnie can make a remake of the movie Get Hard. This is how they're talking to each other on an unsecure server, Professor Zhang, talking about Bill Clinton and Donald Trump. I mean, this is shocking a lot of people, but maybe you can reiterate or reinforce or elaborate on kind of what this really reveals about all of this. What's going on here? Because what I see is a dying American empire kind of just being exposed without not by journalists, not by people doing the work, but by themselves.
Well, I mean, we also have to remember that Jeffrey Epstein, in his Manhattan penthouse, there's a painting of Bill Clinton in a dress, in drag, basically. So one possible interpretation is that all these politicians that we think are our representatives, they're all just the playthings of the elite. They're just puppets of the elite. They're just paid actors. They're literally paid actors. And so American democracy has always been a lie. And so Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, they just do the bidding of the powerful. And the powerful are, in their parties, secret parties, laughing at us, mocking us, because they've been able to deceive us. And we every day are fighting over these petty politics that has absolutely nothing to do with real power. So I think that what these Epstein emails reveals is the deep contempt that the elite has for the people. And these politicians are nothing more than just these puppets that the elite display in front of us in order to distract us. Everything's being curated by the powerful. And so what we see in Washington D.C. has never been more than a reality TV show.
Yeah, great points, Professor Jiang. And it goes deeper than this, because I think one of the things that is left out of this conversation has been, we're going to be touching this a lot throughout the program, Israel. Because we have to remember this was a limited release by the House Oversight Committee, by the U.S. government itself, a major, a slight Democratic Party majority. So really it was a partisan thing, despite how much the emails really showed. But I want to pull up what emails are not being emphasized. And I want to pull up this one in particular, talking about how Epstein was effectively drafting foreign policy messaging for former Israeli PM Ehud Barak, who many believe was really instrumental in the Epstein they had a very close relationship. I would use the opportunity, says Jeffrey Epstein, to compare it with Iran, talking about Syria. The solutions become more complex at the time I see. I think many people would like your views on Egypt, Syria, etc., Russia's role. I think you might point out that gassing of women and children is an expression of the 20th century. Women are no longer equivalent children, civilians versus combatants only. Literally giving advice, Professor Zhang, on how Jeffrey Epstein giving advice on how Israel should paint its U.S. foreign policy. I mean, talk about this. I think this really blows open the realities of these relationships and how it gets all the way to the level of empire.
Yeah, so the first thing we need to understand is that power always consolidates and coalesces. And what I mean by that is that these intelligence agencies, Mossad, CIA, MI6, they're all interlocked together. They're all in alliance together. That's the first thing. Second thing is that these intelligence agencies are also in alliance with different secret societies as well as criminal organizations. So from the perspective of people like someone like Jeffrey Epstein, he's the real power in the world. And that's why he thinks that he can dictate foreign policy to everyone. Okay, so I don't think Jeffrey Epstein was actually a spy. I think Ghislaine Maxwell, his girlfriend, was actually the spy. And one good piece of evidence for that is that Ghislaine Maxwell's father, Robert Maxwell, was a notorious spy, and he was working for Mossad, MI6, as well as Russian intelligence, the KGB. So that's how the powerful works. The powerful are almost like a nexus of all these intelligence agencies, foreign governments, secret societies, and criminal organizations. And so they discuss amongst themselves how to best frame issues and how to best push events. So, from the perspective, if you look at more and more of Jeffrey Epstein's emails, what you would discover is that he was privy to a lot of geopolitical events, and in fact, he was actually helping to plan a lot of geopolitical events as well.
Yeah, and let's go dive more deeply now into some of these power players that were revealed to be very close to Jeffrey Epstein, where he was literally talking about them with Kathy Rumiere, who is Obama's on Obama's legal counsel, White House counsel. He says, girls, when talking to her, careful, I will renew an old habit. Mind you, she says, you might get sick of me just out down on this train. You're not managing your time well enough. It's UN General Assembly week. He says this week, Peter Thiel's, Larry Summers, William Burns, former CIA director, Gordon Brown, a former UK Prime Minister, Jagland, who is a Nobel Peace Prize chairman, was Mongolian president. He's just naming people, Boris, Gates, Bill Gates, everyone who he has contacts with, who he meets with, and says, I might pick up, or I might renew an old habit. Just your response before we move on.
Yeah, so first of all, it's obvious that everyone in power, they're friends with each other. They know each other. So this sort of like struggle between nation states. It's all just a curated media show for us. It's actually real. What goes on behind the scenes is that these powerful people are all friends. Okay, so.
Yeah. This is the important bit right here. Listen closely.
Even though there's wars going on between Russia and Ukraine, guess what? The elite of Ukraine and Russia are all friends. Guess what? The elite of Europe and Russia and Ukraine and America, they're all friends. They go to the same parties. Their children go to the same schools. They're probably intermarried with each other. So that's really how the world works. And as more and more of these Epstein files are released, the more and more we will discover that the elite is all interconnected. They're just playing us for fools. That, I think, is the ultimate message of these file release.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it, man. These elites, man, they've all been in bed with one another. I'm gonna play it back a little bit because he does mention about child sacrifice and why they do them. I think he mentioned them earlier on the video. Let me scroll back a little bit.
Down, referring to Donald Trump when he was being investigated in the first term that he served. So, Professor Zhang, maybe you can give us an overview first of how power works. I know you've been covering secret societies. What is the conspiracy here? Because just as this was happening, you had Trump begging for Netanyahu to be pardoned, and we have a major political crisis, and of course, the collapsing American empire all coming together. Take it away.
Yeah, so these Epstein files, these emails, they're being released, and they're really enlightening, and they really illuminate for us how power works. So I will give a structural overview of what these emails reveal to us, okay? The first thing it reveals to us is that all these people in power, the elite, they're all friends with each other. So in public, the Democrats and Republicans, they can be fighting each other, but in reality, they go to the same schools, they go to the same parties. They're just
a quick precept that goes in Revelation 13. Two arms like a lamb, but speak as a dragon. That's what it's going into.
Friends with each other. So what you're seeing in public, the sort of like political struggle in public, it's all just fake. It's like wrestling. It's reality TV. The elite are all friends with each other. That's the first thing. Second thing that we've noticed about the emails is how cavalier the elite are. They think that they're above everyone else. They think they're untouchable. So they just speak their minds freely. You know, I mean, Jeffrey Epstein, he was using Gmail in order to make all these sensitive communications. There was absolutely no operational security. He didn't really care because he believed he was untouchable. And that's how the elite think and behave. They live in a bubble. They think that they control the world, and they're untouchable. So they can do whatever they want. And all that matters is staying within this bubble, staying close to each other. The third thing I will say is that these emails don't tell us, but we can assume that there are many layers of networking among the elite. So Jeffrey Epstein, why was he so popular among the elite? Well, I mean, first of all, he was just a friendly guy who did a lot of networking and was able to bring the elite together. But if you go to Epstein Island, you will find that there's a temple there that's almost designed for ritual sacrifice. So what I've researched and what I've discovered is that the way that the elite stay together is through rituals, secret society rituals. Why? Because at the end of the day, if you're part of the elite, your biggest problem is trust. How can you trust that person to not rat you out in this political struggle? And the answer is, well, you blackmail each other, right? So you do acts together that would be considered taboo, including sex with underage children. I mean, there are lots of transgressions that you can do, and the more transgressions you do, the more cohesive the elite is. So, unfortunately, if you dig deeper into Jeffrey Epstein, what you'll find is a lot of transgressions, both sexual and violent as well, bring these social taboos. I mean, like the public. I mean, like what's really astonishing about the Jeffrey Epstein case is that slowly the inner workings of the elite are being revealed to the public, and all these conspiracy theories that we once believed couldn't possibly be true, including that the entire American elite are just a bunch of pedophiles. I mean, they're slowly turning out to be true, and this marks a radical turning point in American history.
Yeah, great point.
All right, so we're just gonna pause it right there. So he mentioned about all these transgressions, man. That they talked about these files, man, and we know this is this goes beyond Epstein, right? I'm gonna bring out Amos. Let's bring it right here. So we're gonna bring out Amos chapter 1 verse 11. All right, and it says here, "For thus saith the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment of thereof, because he did pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity, and his anger did tear perpetually, and kept his wrath forever." Right, and and a part of him keeping that wrath forever, right? Is that secret counsel, right? Him hiding the fact of who the true Hebrew Israelites are, and to the everyday Edomite citizen about who their lineage is, right? They're hiding who the Lord's true chosen people are, while simultaneously hiding who the wicked of the earth are, man, which is these Edomites, man. And another precept that I wanted to bring out, right, is I actually have it down right here. Isaiah chapter 29 verse 15, right? talking about that secret council, and it says to there it says here, right, Isaiah chapter 29 verse 15, and it says here, woe unto them that seek deep to hide their counsel from the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, and their works are in the dark, and they say, who seeth us, and who knoweth us? Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay, and for shall the work save of him that made it he made me not, or shall the thing framed to say of him that framed it, he hath no understanding. But but guess what, man? Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, man. He's turning things things right side back up, man. And he's exposing you Edomites, man, and the rest of you nations. For all the wickedness that you've done, man. Going to these secret parties, doing, committing pedophilic acts, man. All these nations, and as well as child sacrifice, man.
That's why the scriptures talk about let there be no vain or profane, as Esau sold his birthright for one morsel of meat, right? Because these people are some of the worst people out there. They're constantly trying to satisfy themselves with even more wickedness, right? And even you even have Ishmael, right? These people from Dubai, right? They're not only getting people to go shit on them, right? Or they're trying, they'll pay $100,000 for to shit on somebody, right? But then they'll but eventually they don't that's not enough for them. They want to kill you. They want to eat you. You know these people are so wicked, man.
And I'll think about it like this, right? Like going back to the forefather Esau, his lust, man, his desire was so insatiable, the fact that he was only mildly hungry, right? But the fact that he exaggerated, something, exaggerated his hunger just to get that undercooked piece of meat, all the way up to the point where he had to sell his birthright, man. It goes to show you, man, literally nothing is not even the kingdom of heaven was enough for this damn devil, right?
What is it? Is it Romans 11:9? It says, Jacob how loved, but Esau how I hated, right? Uh, I don't know if it's I don't know if I don't want to put out the wrong number, but if you can check that for me, Ak. But you think that these heathens, right? You think the Lord he's just gonna forget that? This devil sold his birthright, right? And you think the Lord's we're gonna be all buddy buddy with these people in the kingdom, man? You know,
Yeah,
it's
facts.
like
So if Gentiles, that's true though. If Gentiles could be saved, then come on. If he hated Esau, so who are those Gentiles then? Like if it's the other nations, my question to them is Esau included in? Says all nations can be saved. Can Esau be saved? To the people that say the Gentiles could be saved, could that's a false that's a straight cut right there.
Yeah. And what's it called, man? Yeah, people like what Genesis, man,
Yeah.
changing up the doctrine, saying that Gentiles can now be saved, like yeah, man, that's folly right there, like
that.
he only said that, man, so so he can get money out of these people, man, going back to to selling the truth for filthy lucre's sake, or roughly paraphrasing.
And,
Talks about
and
that
how
in
was Sean
Jude
spoke
1
on
and
that?
4.
Bring it up.
You got it. I could have it right here.
Yeah, I have it.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead,
Oh.
Doc. I have it on the screen.
It's the book of Jude 1 and 4. For there are certain men crept in unawares, who were behold of old ordained to this condemnation, ungodly men turning the grace of Yahweh into lasciviousness, and denying the only Lord Yahweh and our Lord Yahweh Shah HaMashiach.
Uh, true. I got one after you. If you done breaking, if you want to break it down, though, if you want to like go into
Yeah,
it.
so that's going into people coming in from the different angles. They come in, they're not learning sound and proper doctrine, and then they want to just make money. They want to just come up and get a buck from this. And they were talking about the Sakari. They had like enough money to buy the deacon like a G wagon or something like that along those lines. It just shows you, man. Like you were just doing this to get money, bro. Just to buy flashy things, man. You were full of shit. Now you're probably taking the bag from Esau. If you're not taking the bag from Esau, then you just played with demons saying shit like that and calling on the name of Yeshua. Fucking throw, man.
And I got a precept from Apostle Paul. He said, this is Acts 20:29. Says, "For I know this, that after my departing shall grievous wolves enter among you, not sparing the flock. Also of your own selves shall men arise, speaking perverse things to draw away disciples of after them. Therefore watch and remember that by the space of 3 years I cease not to warn everyone night and day with tears." But yet that's really going into like some evil leaders, corrupt teachers, wicked men will rise up, and that's what's happening, man. They trying to, and what's that precept out where the Most High like, could they think just because they got a big congregation, oh yeah, the Lord is dealing with me, bro. I got over 200,000 people in my, but it's not really about the big multitude, because the elect is a small remnant, you know, a remnant shall be saved. So the true prophets, they hate it. They're not gonna be loved amongst the people. So yeah, the people that's bringing out the correct doctrine, they gonna be hated. It's like
Yeah.
GMS.
What happened to most of the prophets,
Oh, they
right?
were persecuted. Yeah.
Persecuted, executed, right? You get the Lord's not dealing with these people that are trying to get hundreds of thousands of subscribers, right? Because the men that are pushing the truth, they're only here for a limited time, and their accounts will typically get banned, and that goes into the famine of the word, right? Because the Lord said He would set a famine, of this word, right? So if we are here with millions of subscribers and stuff, and our channels were always up there, that would be against the scriptures, right? No, we're gonna get banned, and soon all our videos are gonna be off the internet.
Amen of the word.
Yeah.
and and at the end of the day, man, it's whether or not the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yashai gave you the eye salve, right? That understanding, to understand this message, right? Understanding the prophecies of what's going to happen, right? And most importantly, right, and this is going to be the final test. Whether whether or not you're going to take that charagma or not, right? Right.
Yeah. We gonna see who really down with Yahweh Shah. Yahweh Shah. We gonna see. Yeah. Yeah, you gonna really see. Because people love their jobs, bruh. They love their job, and a lot of people gonna take it.
Yeah, people love their jobs, their family,
And the
right?
scripture speak on that, lovers of themselves. What's that scripture? It was 2 Timothy 3:2. I'm gonna go to 1 though. It says, "There this know also that in the last days perilous time shall come, for men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers,
And
inconvenient, fierce, despisers of those that are good." And we send all this now, man. So,
and you know what? Speaking of that, lovers of themselves, right? You got these people always taking a picture of themselves in the mirror, right? Always posting on social media. That goes into it as well. That can be a form of idolatry, right? People taking a picture. You see a woman gets in a car crash and their friend behind them, the person they're with is mangled to death, right? And this woman put on her makeup, right? While the car's on fire, shit like that. People are, you know, this is the type of shit that's gonna happen though. Way worse. People are gonna do whatever it takes to just get that, that makeup, that food, right? These random things, you know.
And brothers, what it is, right? It's because these motherfuckers at the end of the day, they're not really with the truth. They're still in the world, right? Right. And you know what the scripture says, those that love the world, man, the love of the Father is not in them. Let's get that precept.
We said, but ye are in the spirit. Yeah. Cause I heard Apostle Rakai say something like that. He was like, yeah, we in the spirit. I believe that was Romans 8 and 9. But you go ahead and go up.
All right. Let's get that precept after this, Hawk. I believe if I'm not mistaken, this is First John chapter 2, starting at verse 15, and it says here, "Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life, it is of the Father. It is not of the Father, but is of the world." Slaki, that was Satan. And the world passeth away, right? And the lust thereof. But he that doeth the will of Yahweh abideth forever, right? So those are doing the will of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, right? Which is what warning the flock, warning the sheep, right? Saying that mass judgments on the way, man. That Esau about to come out with that with a great wrath of that MOTB, man. In the kingdom of heaven, Yahweh Shai on his way with the fathership, man. Man, the elect are gonna get beamed up, man. These are the things that we should be preaching out there, man. To the flock, but of course, we know only a remnant, right? That is going to receive this testimony, while the rest are going to get destroyed, man. How the Lord's going to destroy them.
Yeah, and that's why you got to be listening to the apostles and others at GMS. The people speaking the likewise doctrine, right? Because these other camps out there, they're just saying whatever, man. They're just lining up, wearing fucking fringes, right? Just going out, in unison, telling people, the MOTB, they're telling people, the MLTB is the name JC. They're telling people it's the name it's sin.
A white woman.
It's the white woman. Which the MLTB is the RFID microchip, and it's the form of the RFID microchip, right? The Karagma. It's not. Don't listen to these fucking people. They're telling people the heathens are gonna make it now. At the end of the day, man, they're just trying to get a bag because they believe that this world is going to be around for another 1,000 years. They believe this world isn't coming to an end, which we're preaching the complete opposite. We're saying that this world is coming to an end, and if you have any horsepower, right? If you have any you know you know any brain cells, you'll be able to understand that. If the Lord gave you that wisdom, you see around you, these people are fucking. It's finished, man. The whole Babylon is done, man. And even if this place lasts another 4 or 5 years, it's not going to be a good 4 or 5 years. The place is finished, man.
It's gonna be chaotic, bro. It's
Yeah,
it's gonna get so chaotic. Michael the archangel gonna stand up
yeah.
in the midst of Jacob trouble, right? It's gonna get real chaotic.
That's right, man.
Terrible.
We're gonna be that word, man. We're gonna be helpless, man. That's why we literally need divine intervention. For us to be saved out here, man, because we can't do nothing ourselves, man. The Lord Yahweh Bashim Al Shai, he has to be with us, man. Lord willing, we are part of that. The elect number that's gonna make it out of here, right?
God,
And and
God,
yeah, that's right, brother Sarah. And and that's what I have here in Romans chapter 8 verse 9. It says here, "But ye are not in the flesh, but in the spirit. If so be that the spirit of Yahweh dwell in you. Now if any man have not the spirit of Hamashiach, he is none of his, right? And how do we know that someone has the spirit, right? Is because they're paying attention to these prophecies, they're understanding what's happening, right? And they're also out there, teaching or even reposting this truth, man. They that person has the eyesight, the understanding of what's going on and what's about to happen in that future, man.
And
touch the
and, and
spirit, by the
doesn't
spirit.
that
God.
doesn't that go into the fleshly bodies will not inherit the kingdom, right? I believe there's a scripture on that. But these fleshly vessels, they're we're not even we don't even look
That's
like
why.
this.
That's why we're gonna be changed. And we
Yeah,
can't even
yeah, we're
stand
gonna
in
be
front of you. How
changed.
about you? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
When we get beamed up in those chairs, Lord willing, man, we're not gonna even this fleshly vessel is just gonna be left like a rag doll. We're gonna be out of there. You know,
I don't even
'Cause-
think we can. Yeah, this flesh can't even inherit the. Yeah, nah.
yeah. That's what I was saying. I don't know if one of you brothers can bring that out.
Let me see. Cause it is the flesh is corrupt, bro. You get all you do all day is get crazy thoughts, crazy urges. Like it is nothing but like it's literally controversy to the basically the word though, cause you all you do is get lustful thoughts, you get lustful urges, you steady rebuking. It's like, bro, who would want to keep dealing? That's why Paul was speaking on that. Who shall deliver me from this? What's that scripture? But yeah, this is the flesh. But I think I got a precept. I think that's First Corinthians 15:50. Now on this I say, brethren, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of Yahweh, neither doeth corruption inherit incorruption. Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. Yeah, in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump, for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. Yeah, for this. Yeah, so that was basically going into what you were saying. Yeah, to them glorious bodies, man, the immortal bodies, immortality. Then it go deeper too, because Paul has said, so when this corruptible shall have put on incorruption, and this mortal shall have put on immortality, it shall be brought to pass, saying, death is written, death is swallowed up in victory. Yeah, it ain't gonna be no more death.
Nah, man, they let
For Israel,
yeah, yeah,
that's real.
yeah,
But
for
the 2/3, they're gonna suffer. But when they inherit the kingdom, they're gonna. Then it said the children are gonna be playing in the streets. I believe that was in Isaiah.
yeah, that's
So
right.
Israel gonna be back in peace.
Yeah, and that's how you also know that the people over there in the land, in the Levant, man. And that's how you know they're not the people, because guess what, we about to enter in another major war, man. And on top of that, their leaders are getting exposed, man. That's how you know that they're not the people, man.
Huh. I was gonna bring out a precept, Zechariah 8:3. It says, thus said the Lord, I am returning to Zion and will dwell in the midst of Jerusalem. And Jerusalem shall be called a city of truth, and the mountain of the Lord of hosts, the holy mountain. Thus said the Lord of hosts, there shall yet old men and old women dwell in the streets of Jerusalem, and every man with his staff in his hand for very age. And the streets of the city shall be full of boys and girls playing in the streets. Thus said, yeah, yeah. So we're gonna be back at peace again. And I believe in Isaiah was speaking about how we gonna take the ones that put us in captivity. They gonna be our handmaids and servants. So that shows you this is a group of people that came out of captivity, and don't Yahweh Shai mean he saves, he delivers. You know, ultimately he gonna deliver his people, beginning with the
And
elect.
the scriptures say, "He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity."
Come on. The Most High just used them to put us in captivity because we went off. Then ultimately he just gonna repay them. You know, because he a just power, he a balanced power, right? You know, he a balanced power.
Yeah,
That's showing that balance. He brought us in captivity, but he gonna bring us back out because he's merciful. But
that's right, Og. And ultimately, man, Esau and these other nations, man, as it says in Genesis, man, where Isaac was telling Esau, man, all his brethren, man, including him, they're going to be his servants, basically. That's that which is what's going to happen soon, man. And, in the kingdom. That is prophecy right there. If I can get that.
the elders are fairer than younger. Yeah. Uh, yeah, bro. And they know this truth, bro. They know this truth, bro. You know, it, just don't read. The most I got a spirit on some the 230 Jake, a dumbed down spirit on them, like they want to seek knowledge, and it's really the curses. Not assurance of thy life shall hang in doubt before, like, bro. Jake under all these curses, bro. That's why Jake act the way he act, really, under a lot of curses. You know,
They put their trust in
yeah,
Egypt, man, and right now Egypt's fucking
yeah.
failing them. That's why the scripture says,
God,
woe unto you that go down to Egypt for help. If I'm not mistaken, that's in the book of Isaiah.
that's why he said, "My people have not known me." They don't even seek to know him. But when he said, "My people have not known me," we trying to tell him on the streets. We trying to tell Jacob who he is, but he ain't even. I'm not saying he, but the people, the 12, they not even trying to seek. But that prophecy though, for the only the elect. Cause Yahweh shall make you fishers of men. We on the streets fishing. We on the internet fishing, but we only fishing for the elect. Because that's the ultimate who gonna get it. Declaring the end from the beginning. So I mean, it just ain't for him. If it ain't for him, it just ain't for him, bro. Like I don't know how to explain it. They NPCs, bro. They can't get it. And the Most High ain't put this in their brain. He ain't he ain't put this in the. This is a mystery. This is the 12. This is a mystery. So you know, if you want to say that's a glitch in the matrix, I mean, bro, they just can't get it. It's just not installed in their mind, bro. I mean, shit, it is what it is, bro. Take the dust off your feet, bro. No.
That's why the scripture is only you. That's why they ask you, how shall what you like, Lord? Why does thou speak in parables? Let's get that. Yeah, because it's only meant for them. The elect, the hopeful, that
That's
they'll
why I
they'll
said the
understand these
spirit like the
mysteries.
wind.
Yes, sir.
God.
Lord, why does thou speak in parable? All right. Matthew chapter 13, starting at verse 13. Therefore I speaketh to them in parables, because they. Actually, let's get this in the blue letter. Let's see here. All right. Matthew chapter 13, starting at verse 10. Right. All right. All right. And it says here, and the disciples came and said unto him, Why speakest thou unto them in parables? He answered and said unto them, and this is Yahushua speaking in the red letter, because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given. That's why they act like NPCs, because it was never meant for them to begin with. For whosoever hath to him shall be given, and he shall have and he shall have more abundance. But whosoever hath not, from him shall be taken. be taken away, even that he hath. Therefore speak I to them in parables, because they see not, and hearing they hear not, neither do they understand. Right? So like you go on the streets, you would tell them that they're Israelites, you tell them about the truth, man. You tell them who Esau is, you tell them about the kingdom, you tell them about Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai, the angels, the chariots, man. But Jake's just not gonna get it right. They just don't have that eye salve, or that understanding. So that's when you keep moving on. And verse 14, and yeah.
They,
I'll sock you. Go ahead, Doc.
oh no, keep going up.
Okay. Verse 14, and in them is fulfilled the prophecy of Esaias, which saith, by hearing ye shall hear, and shall not understand, and seeing ye shall see, and shall not perceive. For this people's heart is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes have closed, lest at any time they should see with their eyes and hear with their ears, and should understand with their heart, meaning their minds should be converted, and should I heal them, man. So when you finally have that understanding, man, that's when Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, man. He's gonna heal you, man. Starting with this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, which really that actually is spiritual power right there. Is knowing the mysteries of the kingdom, man. Yeah, that's right, man. That's why it says here, verse 16. But blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. For verily I say unto you, many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which ye see, and have not seen them, and to hear those things which ye hear, and have not heard them. And that's what we're seeing right now, man. We are seeing, as Yahweh Shai said, man, we're seeing Satan fall as lightning, man. We are seeing his downfall in real time.
Bro. And I find it no coincidence when you go to Revelation 14, and when you go to Revelation 14, I believe it's when you go to Revelation 14 and 3, and when you go further up, it speaks on Babylon the Great. Like, that's no coincidence he put 144,000 and then Babylon. You get what I'm trying to say? Like, it ain't no coincidence. You know what I'm saying? And it all adds up the way he worded it. Like, I feel like there's no coincidence how he put Babylon the Great falling, and then he got 144,000 in the same category. And who else speaking now? You know what I'm saying? But that's just putting two and two together. But some people can't see it.
Hey, that's right, Doc. And with that, we're gonna end off with one final precept. Unless you brothers have another precept, man. And
Shoot.
See.
I mean, I was gonna bring out. I believe it was Revelation 14 and 3 when they said about they sang a new song, and when they said that no man can learn that song but the 144,000. Like, when it said, hold on, it said that no man can learn. Hold on, let me read it again. And the elders, and no man can learn that song but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth. Like, that shows you, like, this song was put in their conscience, and certain people couldn't get it. Certain people can't get it because it wasn't established in their conscience or their mind. So that shows you that the Most High makes it where some people can't get certain stuff. That makes sense.
That's right, off, because the elect, man, they were preordained from the beginning, to understand that song, man, which is which is prophecy, man. Them coming back to that understanding that they are Israelites, and that these damn devils and heathens, that they're going to go down and go into captivity and serve underneath the Israelites, right?
And the book of Romans 11 and 7 says that it says, "What then Israel had not obtained, which he seeketh for, but the election hath obtained it, and the rest were blinded." So the rest of the world is blinded, man.
That's right. Revelation 14 verse 3, and they sung as it were a new song before the throne and before the four beasts and the elders, and no man could learn that song but the 144,144 which were redeemed from the earth, man. And that's the hopeful elect, man. That's gonna understand it, because right now, man, because of the internet, right, that truth is springing forth, like you're seeing all like you're seeing all these receipts and signs of who the Israelites are and who the wicked are, man. And it's being made well known that that we are at the end. Right. So, Psalm chapter 85, starting at verse 11. Truth shall spring out of the earth, and righteousness shall look down from heaven. Yeah, the Lord Yahweh Shem Shai shall give that which is good, and our land shall yield her increase. Righteousness shall go before him, and shall set us and the way of his steps, right? And that brings me to that one picture, right? You know what picture I'm talking about. Where it says on the news where like 2/3 says we're on,
Yeah, the
yeah,
Omen.
yeah, the
The
omen,
Omen.
yeah, 2/3 are on the are says we're we're on the wrong path, but the 1/3 are on the right track, right? And the 1/3 are the ones who are the ones who can see what's about to happen, man, what's about to take place. They can see and understand prophecy, man, right? They can see that that MOT be on the way, because they're measuring the time diligently, and they're anticipating the return of Yahweh Shai, right? All right, so all right,
Mm.
yeah, all right. So with that, we're gonna end off this lesson right here. Hope this lesson's been edifying to you, Akim, and if you Akwath, and to that, we like to say, call Halayim La Abanawa Yahweh
Yahweh,
Ba Hashem
Hashem,
Yahweh
Hashem,
Shai
Yahushai,
Ba
Hashem,
Hashem
Hashem,
Rukakadash.
Rakam
God.
All right, double honors, respect to our apostles and elders, a great millstone who rule well and taught us truth. I would also like to say peace and salutations to the Lord's elect, the whole elect and the 1/3, and you Israelite foreigners, you speckled birds, scattered across the nations that look like the other nations. But the seed line and sperm line goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who salvation is only meant for. Only the elect, the remnant of you is going to get this, and to that, we say shalom.
So,
Shalom.